Curly Foo and Peanut Productions present Sherlock Holmes and the Adventure of the Dancing Men, adapted from the short story by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. We start our tale at 221B Baker Street, the London residence of the great consulting detective, Mr. Sherlock Holmes.
I am an Antichrist and I am a detective. I don't know what I want, but I know how to get it. I want to Oh, God, I'm bored.
Will you shut up?
Why, Mrs. Hudson, does my singing annoy you?
Yeah, and your playdate's here.
My playdate? Ooh, Watson's here. I must make myself look busy. Where's today's paper? Oh, this'll have to do.
Morning, Holmes.
What? Oh, good morning, Watson. I didn't hear you enter. I was completely engrossed in today's newspaper.
That's last week's Exchange and Mart, is it?
I mean, of course it is. This publication is a cornucopia of information for the consulting detective.
Really?
Yeah, most certainly. It can actually provide the means to prevent a major crime before it ever happens.
OK, I'll bite. Prove it. Come on. How's the Exchange and Mart a hub for dastardly crimes?
Well, it's a hotbed for hitmen.
Seriously?
Yeah, people advertise to acquire the services of hired assassins in here all the time.
Show me an example.
What, now?
Yep, right now. If it's such a hotbed for hitmen, a consulting detective of your calibre will be able to pick one straight off the bat.
Oh, I mean...
Go on.
Very well, give me a moment. Here we go. Wanted. Large pine wardrobe with deep bottom drawers.
And that's someone advertising for a contract killing, is it?
Obviously.
It's not obvious. Enlighten me.
Pine wardrobe is a metaphor for coffin. The fact that they want a large one would infer that the intended victim is a man.
Why not a big woman?
Who would want to assassinate a big woman?
Her small husband?
Yeah, if I may continue.
Please do.
The term deep bottom means that the target is to be disposed of in such a way that the corpse will never be found.
And that's what you gleaned from an ad for a wardrobe?
Yes, and now that you understand my deductive reasoning, does it not become as clear as a fine piece of Waterford crystal?
Have you been drinking Red Bull again?
Maybe.
Holmes, we should lay off that stuff. It's addictive and it's dangerous.
Yeah, and it makes me piss an excessive amount.
Precisely.
Aha, there's someone at the front door. Perchance it's a new case to repressurize the vacuum of challenge that my intellect is currently enduring.
Or maybe it's just someone who's come about a wardrobe.
You shut up, Watson. Mrs. Hudson, would you be so kind as to see who is at the front door?
I'm flossing. Do it yourself.
Just answer the door, you vile woman.
Oh, for God's sake.
Come in.
Well, Mr. Holmes, what do you make of these? He's Sherlock Holmes. I'm Dr. John Watson.
You do realise that the term "what do you make of these" is right up there with "do my fingers smell funny"?
What? Oh dear, I am most terribly sorry. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Hilton Cubitt of
Ridingthorpe Manor in Norfolk.
Holmes, you are amazing. How could you possibly know that?
I agree, I am amazing. But Mr. Cubitt has already emailed me some correspondence.
He has?
Yeah, see for yourself. It's over there on the bureau.
I can't see anything on your bureau except for an origami frog.
Yeah, that's it. I was bored.
You turned the evidence that I sent you into a paper frog.
Well, it appeared to be some sort of childish prank. Just a note with absurd little figures dancing across the paper. Why would you attribute any importance to so grotesque an object?
Because it is threatening my wife to death. This is a really good frog. Look, it's got little webbed feet and everything. Can you make anything else, Holmes?
Shut up, Watson.
I only asked.
Mr. Cubitt, Please tell us the particulars of your case.
But all that information was contained within the letter that I sent you accompanying this queer note.
I only asked you to recap for Watson's benefit.
You did read my letter, didn't you? Oh, look. What's this? An origami giraffe?
Shut up, Watson. Mr. Cubitt, the facts, if you please.
Well,
And keep it short. Countdown starts on Channel 4 in 15 minutes, and I need my fix of Rachel Riley.
Then I shall begin at the time of my marriage last year.
Shorter?
As you wish. I am married to an American actress named...
Shorter?
Her name is...
Tell you what, let's try cutting out all the conjunctives.
Wife. Elsie Patrick. Secret past.
Now you're getting the idea. Continue.
Ends June. Received American letter. Elsie destroyed letter. Elsie afraid. He sounds like Tarzan.
He does, doesn't he? Hey, Cubitt, say Ungoa cheetah.
What?
Never mind. Go on with your story.
Last Tuesday, windowsill, dancing men, chalk drawing. Yesterday, sundial, dancing men note. Elsie faint. Elsie terrified. I write you.
And it's a jolly good job that you did. I'll be delighted to take your case. It sounds most intriguing. Unfortunately, the sample that you did send me on the note was too short to decipher, though.
Ribbit.
Shut up, Watson. Mr. Cubitt, I suggest that you return to Norfolk. You will receive more of these messages, for that is what they are. When you do, you must forward me exact copies immediately.
Who's for a cup of tea?
Got any Red Bull?
Holmes?
Okay, coffee then. Ooh, look, Jaffa cakes, my favourite.
There's 2 each.
Not for me, thank you. I had best be off.
I'll have yours then.
You can't have them.
Where's your sugar?
I'll
I'll be
Here,
going
hold
then.
this a minute.
Did you just lick that
Shall I
spoon?
let myself out?
Who put that in there?
Yeah, just stir it, it'll go
Goodbye,
away.
everyone.
Something floating in mine.
I'll be in touch. Holmes, was it really necessary to leave Baker Street and travel to Norfolk in such a mad panic rush?
Yeah, following that last message that Cubitt sent to me, it was utterly imperative.
But I didn't have time to pack any clean underwear.
Then pray we're not here too long. Well, either that or try to refrain from dribbling in your pants. There goes another one.
I wonder where they're all going.
Oh, by the looks of it, he's making for that house just ahead of us.
Isn't that Ridingthorpe Manor,
Yep,
where Hilton Cubitt and his wife Elsie live?
yep,
And where we are walking to right now?
yep.
Something must have happened there.
Well, duh.
There's no need for sarcasm.
Well, I find that sarcasm is the only effective countermeasure to your running commentary of all our actions, which are invariably accompanied by statements that are bloody obvious.
You can be really hurtful sometimes, Holmes.
Can I? Okay, thanks.
I didn't mean...
Hey, shut up, Watson, we're here. Good day, Constable.
I'm sorry, gentlemen. I must ask you to stop right where you are. This is a crime scene.
Oh, so it's not a parking lot for police cars then? I mean, how many do you have here? Is that a new Volvo? I thought police budgets were supposed to be stretched to breaking point according to the BBC.
Can I help you?
Yes, who's in charge here?
Inspector Martin of the Norfolk Constabulary.
Well, would you be so kind as to tell him that Sherlock Holmes and Dr. John Watson are here, and we have some information which may be of some use to him in his investigation.
Sherlock Holmes?
Yes?
The Sherlock Holmes, the famous detective?
Yes.
Oh, Mr. Holmes, let me shake your hand. I am such a big fan of your work.
Perfectly understandable.
Can I have your autograph?
Of course. Would you like it on the 6" by 3" portrait photograph or the 8x4?
8x4, if that's all right. I can hang it on the wall in the station then.
Watson, please pass me one of the 8x4 photographs from the backpack.
OK. There you are.
And your pen, please, Watson?
Why can't you use one of your own?
I didn't bring one,
Why not?
because I knew you would have one,
Why can't you just remember to bring your own pen for a change?
says the man who forgot to pack clean underpants before we left the house.
Well, did you remember to bring clean Y-fronts?
Nope.
Well, there you go then. I'm not the only one.
Yes, but I don't need any clean undies.
Why not?
Because I'm not wearing any.
What, nothing at all?
Nope.
We're not French, you know.
I am aware of that.
So, why haven't you got any underpants on?
It's an experiment.
OK, that's about as much as I need to know. Just take the pen.
Thank you, Hudson. It would appear that my experiment has been a success. Now then, Constable, who should I make this out to?
Pert to P.C. Gollings and all the lads at North Walsham Station.
Gollings. All the best. Sherlock. There you go.
Oh, that's brilliant, thank you. Now wait here a moment and I'll go and fetch Inspector Martin for you.
Can I have my pen back, please?
It's only a big biro.
Yes, but it's my big biro, which I bought with my own money.
Here, take it.
You've bitten the end of it. You've only had it a few minutes and you've chewed it already.
So?
That was my pen. It was virtually new.
It's only a couple of teeth marks.
I don't want it now.
Good, make your mind up, why don't you?
Mr. Sherlock Holmes? The Sherlock Holmes? Blimey.
Ah, you must be Inspector Martin. 6x3 or 8x4 photograph.
6x3, please.
Pass me a 6x3, would you, Watson?
Here.
Good job I kept hold of your pen now, isn't it?
I want it replaced.
Just put tomato.
There you are, Inspector Martin.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Now then, Inspector, what's happened here?
Come and see for yourself.
Oh, alas, we've arrived too late, Watson.
Mr. Cubitt was shot clean through the heart.
And what about his wife, Elsie?
It would seem that after killing her husband, she attempted to take her own life by shooting herself in the head.
You said attempted. What is her condition?
She's still alive, despite the bullet passing through the front part of her brain.
Look, I know I shouldn't find that funny, but I kinda do. Watson, would a witty comment at this point be inappropriate?
Yes, Holmes, it would.
Well, it's a real shame, because I've got a corking one-liner.
Just keep it to yourself, then.
Very well. Spoil sport. Inspector Martin, what evidence is there to suggest that Elsie Cubitt killed her own husband?
Only one pistol has been found within the room, and it has 2 empty barrels, 1 shot for each person. The gun was found between Mr. and Mrs. Cubitt, and she had been shot at close quarters. Furthermore, there are powder burns on her face, not on her hand.
I see. So how do you explain the bullet hole which so obviously struck the edge of the window, making a total of 3 shots fired?
What third bullet hole?
Why, the one drilled through the lower sash, about an inch above the bottom. It indicates the presence of a third person in this tragedy.
Blimey, he's right.
Naturally.
But how did you know it was there?
Observation, my dear chap. Seeing, not just looking.
Well, I still think that's amazing.
You find that amazing now, but trust me, it gets irritating really quickly.
Mr. Holmes, might I ask what brought you here to Ridingthorpe Manor at just this time?
I would be happy to explain. Mr. Cubitt came to my rooms in Baker Street a few weeks ago. Watson, did I just see you poke that corpse with your foot?
I'm just making sure that he's really dead, Holmes.
Kicking the body is not a recognised medical procedure for establishing death.
It is in the army.
Watson, this is a crime scene.
Sorry, Holmes.
Now, Inspector, as I was saying, I have been in correspondence with Mr. Cubitt for several weeks. Someone has been leaving mysterious messages intended for Mrs. Cubitt and written in a curious graphical code. See here, I have an example.
It looks like a drawing of little men dancing.
Quite so.
That one's waving and, oh, look at that. That little fella there, he looks as if he's kicking the next little chap in the arse.
Let me see. Ha! It does, doesn't it? Look at this, Holmes.
I've already seen it, and I agree that the one on the left is getting a boot right up his jacksie. Anyway, my point is that these little figures form a relatively simple substitution cipher which I've cracked using frequency analysis.
Please don't ask him to explain what it means, Inspector. He'll go into excruciating detail. It'll take ages, and I don't have any clean underpants.
What made you think that something so innocuous looking was of any significance, Mr. Holmes?
Because they were deliberately designed to look like the sketches of children. Most people who happened upon them would dismiss them without a second thought. However, to someone in the know, they are instantly recognisable as a coded message.
And if the messages were intended for Mrs. Cubitt, then she must know the code.
Well deduced, Inspector.
Thanks. Hey, I'm getting as good as you, Mr. Holmes.
No, you're not.
So what did the messages say then?
Oh, all sorts of things, such as, I know where you live, or what are you wearing, or I can see you right now.
Ooh, creepy.
But the most significant was the last one forwarded to me by Mr. Cubitt, which read, Elsie, prepare to meet thy God.
Which is why you rushed down here.
Precisely.
Who do you reckon's responsible for the messages, Mr. Holmes?
The same person who shot and killed Hilton Cubitt.
And who's that?
Well, since one of the messages received by Mrs. Cubitt read, Am here, Abe Slaney, I'm going to assume that this is the identity of our man.
Abe? That sounds a bit American to me.
Very good, Watson. I made the same assumption.
Great minds think alike, eh, Holmes?
No, Watson.
What do you know of this Slaney character then, Mr. Holmes?
Well, as I was saying, I had every reason to suspect that Slaney was American, which was supported by Elsie Cubitt's own American origins. Also, her refusal to discuss her past with her husband gave me cause to think that there was some criminal secret in the matter.
Ooh, sinister.
So I emailed my friend Wilson Hargreave of the New York Police Bureau.
Abe. Wilson. Doesn't anyone in America give their kids normal names?
What, like Sherlock?
Ha, nice one, Inspector.
Shut up, both of you.
Sorry, Holmes.
Yeah, sorry, Mr. Holmes. Please go on.
It turned out that Slaney was the most dangerous crook in Chicago.
And he's in Britain.
I believe so.
How can we find him?
Yeah, I've already thought of that. One of his messages referred to Elridge's. Is there a hotel or inn of that name in this vicinity?
There's a farmer called Elridge just up the road.
Excellent. Thank you, Constable Golling. I wonder, Inspector, would it be possible to send one of the manor staff over to the farm with this note?
If you think the murderer is there, shouldn't we be sending an armed response unit and setting up a police cordon round the property?
Ooh, what about calling up helicopter support?
Great idea.
Brilliant, I love helicopters.
There's no need for any of that. Just send that note as I ask, and I believe the perpetrator will come to us.
Helicopters, Holmes. Helicopters.
Oh, do be quiet, Watson. The note, if you please, Inspector.
See to it, would you, Constable Gollin?
Yes, sir.
Now, while we're waiting, where can I get a nice cup of tea?
The murderer's here.
Watson, for God's sake, keep your voice down. We'll give the game away before we've had a chance to nab him.
Oh, sorry, Holmes.
I think, gentlemen, it'd be best to take up our position behind the door.
What, all three of us?
Yes?
Well, there's not much room. It's going to be a bit of a squeeze. Why don't I crouch down behind the settee?
Do what you want, but do it quickly. Inspector, have your handcuffs ready. Leave the talking to me. Now quickly, everyone to their places.
Ow! Mind your elbow, Mr. Holmes, I'm sensitive there.
Shh! Be quiet, Inspector. Watson, get down. I can still see your great fat arse poking over the top of the sofa. Quickly, Inspector, the handcuffs.
Hey, what the hell?
Surprise!
Gotcha! Gollin, get in here right now!
Yes, sir.
Hold him, Constable.
I presume you are Mr. Abe Slaney.
Yeah, I'm Abe Slaney. Well, gentlemen, you got the drop on me this time.
What do you mean this time? This isn't a regular social event. We're not playing Grand Theft Auto, you know.
I came here in an answer to a letter I received from Elsie Cubitt. Don't tell me she's in on this.
No, the bullet in her head put the kibosh on her taking part today. A shame, really. I'm sure she would have enjoyed it.
You're crazy. I shot him, not Elsie. I'd never heard her. She must be okay. She wrote me a note.
No, she didn't.
Did so?
Didn't.
Did. And here it is.
Yeah, I wrote that.
But it's in our secret code.
What one man can invent, another man can discover. Do you really think that I, Sherlock Holmes, would not be able to crack such a childish cipher?
You're Sherlock Holmes.
Yes.
The Sherlock Holmes.
Yes.
Can I?
No. Murderers do not get my autograph. You're just the sort to flog it on eBay the first chance you get.
Her husband shot at me first.
And why did he do that?
No reason.
Seriously?
I guess I may have been waving my gun around while trying to pull Elsie out through an open window.
Mr. Cubitt was hardly unprovoked then.
I guess so.
Seeing you armed and abducting his wife, Hilton Cubitt shot at you and missed, hence the bullet hole in the windowsill. You returned fire and killed him.
And then I ran.
At which point Elsie was so overcome with grief that she tried to take her own life by shooting herself in the head with her husband's gun. And despite firing at point-blank range, she still managed to miss hitting anything vital. I still find that funny.
Holmes?
Sorry, Watson.
I've known her since she was a kid. Her father was Boss Patrick. He was head of our mob.
Boss Patrick? What a rubbish name. I expect the head of a mob to have a name like Don Arcioli or Johnny Garrott or Concrete Tony.
Well, that last one just sounded like a builder's merchant's.
Boss Patrick was the one who invented the dancing men code for our clandestine communication.
What was your gang called? Famous Five? The Secret Seven? The Double-Deckers, perhaps? I mean, don't you have mobile phones in Chicago?
Huh?
Never mind. Please go on with your story.
Elsie and me were engaged to be married, but she wanted nothing to do with the crime business. She ran away to London and married this English man.
Let me guess the rest. You tracked her down to Norfolk and then followed her here. You then sent her increasingly threatening messages in an attempt to get her to return to Chicago with you.
I was just trying to coax her back.
You don't usually try to coax someone with phrases like, "I'll get you and your little dog too." I dread to think what you'd put on your Match.com profile if that's what constitutes coaxing in Chicago.
I was getting mad. In the end, she agreed to meet me here at the window. When I arrived, she tried to bribe me to go away.
And that's when her husband showed up.
And Elsie shot Slaney.
No, how could she? Slaney's standing right here in front of you, Watson.
Maybe she missed.
No, Cubitt missed.
Cubitt missed Elsie.
No, Cubitt missed Slaney.
So Slaney shot Elsie.
No, Slaney shot Cubitt.
So who shot Elsie?
Elsie shot Elsie.
OK, got it.
Are you sure?
Yes, absolutely.
Really?
No, not really. Maybe you could draw it out for me, diagrammatically.
Watson, nothing would give me greater pleasure.
Yeah, I bet it wouldn't.
However, that must wait.
We have our man. Golin, take him away.
Right-yo, Inspector. Come on, Sonny Jim, off we go.
Slaney, before you are carted away, would you answer me one question?
Well, that depends upon the question.
It's of a professional nature.
Okay, what do you want to know?
What aspect of the crime world were you involved with?
Huh?
Well, what did you do for the mob?
I'm a hitman.
Is that so? How terribly fascinating. And tell me, have you done any business, so to speak, during your stay in England?
Sure I have. A man needs to pay his way in this world.
Of course, of course. What a wonderful work ethic you have.
Hang on, I know where this conversation's going.
Shut up, Watson. So, Mr. Slaney, how do you find your assignments over here?
Well, it's an advertisements publication that people over here in the UK use for selling off all the junk they want to get rid of. It's also a hotbed for hitmen.
How jolly interesting. And what, pray tell, is the name of this most useful periodical?
As if you didn't know.
It's called The Exchange and Mart.
Unbelievable. Morning, Holmes.
It's more like afternoon, Watson.
Oh, so it is. I've no idea what time I got in last night.
It was this morning, 3:14 a.m. to be precise. You were singing My Way.
Did I sound like Frank Sinatra?
Most definitely not. How was the British Medical Association dinner last night?
Well, I remember arriving and having a few drinks before the meal. I'm sure I ate something, and then I had a few more drinks along the way. I know we went clubbing afterwards, and I think I ended up on shots.
You look terrible, man. Would you like some Red Bull?
You promised me you wouldn't touch that stuff anymore, Holmes.
Oh, tish tosh.
I could murder a cup of tea.
I'll get Mrs. Hudson to make you one. Mrs. Hudson!
Holmes, please. My head is splitting.
It's self-inflicted, Watson. You'll get no sympathy from me. It's always the same when you go off with your doctor pals. Mrs. Hudson!
What?
Please would you be so kind as to make a pot of tea for Dr. Watson and myself?
Bugger off.
If you do as I ask, then you can join us and we can both make fun of Watson's hangover.
I'll put the kettle on.
Thank you!
As if I'm not already in enough misery.
Would you care to look through this morning's newspapers?
Is there anything of interest in them apart from the telly pages?
Well, I'm glad you asked that. Do you recall the Abe Slaney case from a while ago?
You mean the adventure of the dancing men?
Is that what you're calling it?
Yes.
It's not a very dynamic title, is it?
Would you prefer something like Sherlock Holmes busts the dancing men wide open?
OK, maybe not.
So, what did it have to say in the newspaper?
The article just says that Abe Slaney's trial is now over and he has received a very long prison sentence for the murder of Hilton Cubitt.
So he escaped the gallows then?
Well, of course he did. England abolished the death penalty in 1965.
That's a shame.
You can be so Victorian sometimes, Watson.
I've been meaning to ask you something about that case, Holmes.
And what is that?
The note you wrote and sent to Abe Slaney that brought him running to the manor. What did it say?
Huh! I have a copy right here, Watson. Go ahead, see if you can decipher it.
You had a copy ready?
Yes.
Do you know what? I'm going to bet that you've had that ready ever since we returned from Norfolk and you've been desperate for me to ask you about it, just so you can whip it out and show off some more.
Oh, quite so. Now, tell me what it says.
Hangover, Holmes.
Oh, go on.
I can't be bothered.
Well, then you'll never find out.
Just tell me.
Bum 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 bum.
Holmes.
Bum 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 bum.
I'll give it here. Here, does it say, come here at once?
What?
Oh, does it say, come here at once?
Yes.
He shoots, he scores.
You didn't decipher it at all, you just guessed what it said.
Yep.
How could you possibly have guessed correctly on your first attempt?
It was elementary, my dear Holmes. You have been listening to Sherlock Holmes and the Adventure of the Dancing Men, starring Stanislaw as Sherlock Holmes, Simon Stein as Dr. John Watson, and Anastasia as Mrs. Hudson. All other parts were played by Fred Turner and Dennis Gavin. Adapted and produced by Fred Turner and Dennis Gavin. Music from Elgar, Rossini, Holst, Grieg and Wagner. Sherlock Holmes will return next month in The Adventure of the Devil's Foot. In the meantime, visit our website at www.thecurlyfooandpeanut, that's all one word, .co.uk. No one should take themselves too seriously, especially Sherlock Holmes. Hello, Stanislaw.
Oh, hi, Simon. How's it hanging, man?
It's hanging down, I suppose. Can I ask you a question?
I don't see why not.
Is Stanislaw your first name or your surname?
Oh, neither. Stanislaw's my only moniker. I decided it's sexy to have just one name, like Fabio or Madonna.
Or Hitler?
What? What? No. Anyway, Hitler had a first name.
Did he?
Yes.
Was it Hyle?
Oh, good Lord.